Okay, we have live breaking news. The DOJ just sent Congress the official Epstein name list. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy AG Todd Blanche have submitted a 6-page letter to the House and Senate Judiciary Committee under Section 3 of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which requires full accounting of redactions made in a list of every government official and, quote, politically exposed person, end quote, named in the released files. I'm going to show you the full list and the letter, and we'll talk about that right now. Also, Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein, a list of the real Illuminati, like the official Illuminati, and I've got the file number and everything to verify it, and then you're not going to believe this. Well, actually, what am I saying? Of course you're going to believe this. A former chief medical examiner who used to work in the state of New York in the 70s is causing rampant headlines demanding another investigation into how the narrative was let out to the public, how Epstein met his demise. You know, obviously the popular rendition of that is that he unalived himself. I have to say unalived. If I say the S word, they're going to take this video down. Dan Bongino and former Deputy Director Dan Bongino and current Director of the FBI, Kash Patel, went on Maria Bartiromo about 5-6 months ago saying there's nothing to see here. He unalived himself. It's all over. End of story. Kaput. Well, I got to share with you this new chief medical officer who is talking, and he is raising a lot of questions and eyebrows and grabbing a lot of people's attention. So stick around with that. But let's jump into this live breaking news of Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi sending this letter about fulfilling their promise for the Epstein Transparency Act. Here we go. Okay, so here is the letter. It's on Valentine's Day of all times. I hope you guys had a wonderful Valentine's Day. Wishing you nothing but the best. You can see here it's addressed to Chairman Jim Jordan, Chuck Grassley, Ranking Member Dick Durbin, Ranking Member Jamie Ratty Rat Raskin. The Epstein Files Transparency Act, Section 3, Section 3 report to Congress. 2 words, Nez, decaf. Section 3 of the Epstein Files Transparency Act requires the Department of Justice, within 15 days of completing the release required under the Act, to submit to the House and Senate, blah, 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 categories of records released in accordance with the requirements of the Act as described in various department submissions to the courts of the Southern District of New York assigned to the Epstein and Maxwell prosecutions and related orders. The department released all, quote, records, documents, communications, and investigative materials in the possession of the department that, quote, relate to, end quote, any of 9 categories. And so this is what's really, really interesting. You can see some of the names. You'll see U.S. presidents and family, U.S. politicians and officials, foreign leaders and royals, business tech people like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, celebrities like Beyonce, Cher, and Mick Jagger, media and legal like Alan Dershowitz. The DOJ states that no records were withheld, quote, on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, end quote. But I call BS on that because they redacted plenty of names. They said that only redactions were made to protect victim identities and preserve active investigations. Unredacted versions remain available for congressional inspection. So this is the first time the federal government has officially cataloged every powerful name that surfaced across 3 million pages of Epstein files. So the letter is now in the hands of both parties. And you can see here, I see Bono in there, George Clooney, Bill Clinton, Pam Bondi. You'll see Epstein in there. Nikki Haley is in there. Dershowitz, David Copperfield, Robert De Niro, that schmuck on wheels is in there. Michael Cohen is in there. Hakeem Jeffries, I did a whole video on that. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is in there. He talked about that a little bit, about why he's in there. Newsom is in there. McCain is in there. Michelle Obama, Benjamin Netanyahu, Adam Schiff, George Soros, pretty much every name that you can imagine is out there, as well as Trump. You can see there, Mark Zuckerberg, but Trump is totally vindicated. I mean, this Epstein release, the Democrats whining and crying, Epstein, it totally backfired on them, y'all, because Trump is documented as the only individual to blow the whistle. If you missed that video, you're blowing it. I mean, this is the most amazing video I've created where I go in detail. Nez, what are you talking about? Trump blew the whistle on Epstein. I will leave that video in the pinned comment. Go watch it right after this, as well as in the description and show notes. It's phenomenal. You have to see that. Jeff Zucker, Peter Thiel, Michael Wolff, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it says, sincerely, Pamela J. Bondi, United States Attorney General. Now, there's a lot of people who are kind of upset about this. Nancy Mace is saying that, no, you protected way too many people. These aren't the full unredacted files, as well as Ro Khanna, who I don't really care about, have said the same thing. So there's a lot of people who are not too happy about that. But it's, again, the first time this has ever been released. You can find the full list on my X if you want to just read through them and find out who exactly is named. That's totally fine. But that's the first time ever we've seen a full list of all the biggest names mentioned in the Epstein files. Now, let's move to Jay-Z here for a second here. File number EFTA, you can see it up there at the top of your screen. So if you want to look this up on the DOJ website, you can. But this is extremely alarming. Remember, Jay-Z, if you don't know who Jay-Z is the mogul, hip-hop mogul. He's in control of the Super Bowl halftime show. He runs that production. He's the one who put Bad Bunny in there, which, I don't know if you're like me, somebody who goes, not really happy with that. That's like his singing vernacular. Check this out. On July 10th, 2019. Now, you see a lot of redacted stuff here. Why? At 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time, this is a case ID, Jeffrey Epstein in minor children, okay? Called the FBI National Threat Operations to identify herself as a victim of sex abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and others. She provided the following information. Her name has been redacted. This is insane right here. In approximately 1994, as past victims of sex abuse by Epstein, I have to spell it out, I can't say it, describe the abuse occurred during parties, further identified as a friend of, okay, in approximately 1996, resided with, redacted, an unknown man abducted, redacted from her home, whence, here's the big part right here, she later woke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter. That is Jay-Z's real name. Obviously, his parents didn't name him Jay-Z. That's his hip-hop name, his brand name. While Weinstein had inserted his fingers into blank, blank believed she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. So in 1996, this happened. Jay-Z has been, kind of implicated in a lot of stuff. Nicki Minaj has put out a lot of stuff on him, saying he went after Aaliyah when she was 15. He started dating Beyonce, who's his current wife, when she was 16. There's this kind of paradigm or pattern of behavior. And this, to me, is really damning. So she was taken from her home and then woke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein, who's pretty much the catalyst for the Me Too movement. He's a complete scumbag Hall of Famer. And Sean Carter, Jay-Z, while Weinstein had his fingers, believed she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. Blank estimates she was abducted on 7 occasions, awaking each time in an opulent indoor setting. I mean, this is some eyes wide shut stuff right here, straight out of Hollywood horror. Blank suffered from sex abuse on multiple of those occasions in which Epstein participated. Blank recalled Leon Black and William Barr, current United States Attorney General, being present during some of those occasions of abuse. In approximately 2006, last recalled being abused by Epstein. Holy macadamia nut. The one thing that needs to come out about all this is there needs to be accountability. We've seen a lot of people like Peter Mendelsohn, former British Prime Minister, he's come under fire. Keir Starmer's come under fire. The aide that worked for Obama, who is now working at Goldman Sachs, she resigned in disgrace, and other people have been implicated. Reid Hoffman, the LinkedIn co-founder, is an absolute atrocious dirtbag who's implicated so many times, having conversations, hanging out, ugly emails back and forth. It'd be nice to see these guys in handcuffs. That's all I got to say. Okay, I can't wait to get your thoughts on that. All right, this right here absolutely ran my blood cold. Okay, I have to share this with you right here. And what I want to share with you first is, okay, in full transparency, that right there is the file number, EFTA 01082667 in the DOJ files. I want to be very, very transparent. Where am I getting my information from? Look at this list, you guys. You're not going to believe this. Illuminati families and their associates. Look at the names. The Astor bloodline, the Bondi bloodline, the Collins bloodline. These are some of the most notorious, nefarious families in the history of the world. The DuPont bloodline, the Freeman bloodline, the Kennedy bloodline, the Lee bloodline, the Onassis bloodline, the Reynolds bloodline, the Rockefeller, the Rothschild. Starting to make sense now, y'all? The Russell bloodline, the Van Duyn bloodline. It goes on and on. The Mormon leadership, the Disney bloodline. Wow. All the conspiracy theorists right now should be, they should just be getting a giant apology letter from the public, because everything they've said, they must be cheering right now. Everything they've said has absolutely come true. Disney, the Mormon leadership, the Merovingian bloodline, the Van Duyn, the Russell, Rothschild, Rockefeller, all of these names, the Astor, the Kennedy, the Onassis, the Freeman bloodline, the DuPont, the Bundy, all of this has been, it's been like conspiracy lore for decades. And now this is the file with the headline, the Illuminati families and their associates. The hairs on the back of my neck are going up right now. By the way, I am not one of these who are depressed. I'm very happy. I love my life. I love my wife. I love my kids. I am not depressed. I am not having any tendencies to myself. So if anything happens to me, you know why. Okay? Thank you. Please pray for me in the comments. Okay, this story is just nabbing headlines by, the dozens. The pathologist at Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy demands a new investigation. So Dr. Michael Baden, who's a renowned pathologist, he was at Epstein's autopsy, and he is now demanding a fresh investigation, insisting that newly released info only confirms his belief that the notorious pedo was murdered. So Dr. Michael Baden, again, who was New York City's chief medical examiner in the 70s, was so alarmed by what he saw in the August 2019 exam that he publicly declared, quote, "The evidence points toward homicide rather than S. That was my opinion at the time," he says, "and I still stand by it. The autopsy findings are much more consistent with a crushing injury caused by homicidal strangulation than caused by hanging by S." So, wow, look at that photo. I've never even seen that photo. Baden also insisted documents released in the Epstein Files reinforce his belief that the medical examiner rushed to call the death an S. It also showed there was reason to believe that suspicious behavior in the MCC at the time, including a flash of orange. I did a whole video on this. By the way, I have a whole playlist on the Epstein debacle. If you're just joining now and just happen to be discovering us, I will leave the entire playlist in the pinned comment and in the description down below. I've done an entire video dissecting the prison footage, including this specificity, this flash of orange that looked like possible inmates should not have been dismissed as foolish conspiracies. All the conspiracy theories are coming true. Baden insists, given all the information now available, further investigation into the cause and manner of his death is warranted. Wow. Baden has been a witness to the autopsy at the request of Epstein's brother Mark, who has long believed his brother was, yes, taken. Baden said he and then Chief Medical Examiner Barbara Sampson agreed that the results were inconclusive and, quote, more information was needed to determine the cause and manner of death. Newly released documents also show the cause of death was initially marked as pending, which Baden believes suggests he was correct to think they were waiting for more info. Instead, just 5 days later, Sampson declared Epstein's death an S. You can read it right there. I can't say the word. By hanging, blindsiding the expert witness. I have not seen any evidence. That's him right there. I love the way he looks. I have not seen any evidence of further study, nothing that indicated further investigation into the cause of death. Baden told the Telegraph of his shock at the sudden ruling that defied what he had witnessed. The autopsy findings are much more consistent with a crushing injury caused by H strangulation than caused by hanging by S. Specifically, the doctor pointed to 3 fractures in Epstein's neck, which he had never witnessed in a hanging S in his decades-long career. Even 1 fracture, he says. We have to investigate the possibility of an H. 2 definitely warrant a full investigation, he told the paper. Findings in textbooks never see those fractures, and neither have I. Wow, this is, I mean, what do you guys think about Cash and Dan going on Maria Bartiromo and saying, there's nothing here? He totally ended his own life. There's nothing to see here. I mean, are they implicit too? Baden initially maintained that the injuries were not consistent with a noose made from a bedsheet, as officials claim. It wasn't smooth like the sheet, he said. The markings on his necks would have required a different type of material. Sampson has repeatedly dismissed any evidence of strangulation and defended her office's findings. The S ruling has been accepted by the Trump administration. There's his jail cell, which I have a picture of his jail cell, which I have covered in many videos. All those orange sheets seems very, very suspect. A panel of 6 senior forensic pathologists prepared an exclusive report in 2024 re-examining the full autopsy. 4 of the 6 panel members classified it as he did it himself, while 2 found it impossible to give a definitive ruling. I covered all of his the video game bio and his user tag name that came out in this extensive. I've got a couple videos where I just think that he's definitely alive. And I believe Dr. Baden. I believe Dr. Baden that if that was the correct body, which it may have been, and they didn't switch it out. Remember that post on that anonymous website that I shared? I mean, you got to go see that video. Please go see that video next. It really just kind of, to me, illuminates everything. Go check out that video as soon as you can. But I definitely did not fall or ascribe myself to the belief that he did it himself. But I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think's in the comments down below. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Tap that thumbs up. Here's the playlist right here. If you want to go check out the playlist, go check it out. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It doesn't cost you a thing. And as always, may God bless you and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.